This is a little bit of the crop I have harvested this year out of my garden. This is basically the squash plus some cucumbers in here I need to remove from the bucket. But the sun has finally come out. We've had today is Saturday, and the first part of the week was rainy and clouds and just yucky weather. But today the sun is out, and so I am going to take this little squash that I harvested out of my garden. I planted this baby, and we're going to put it in the solar oven today. Okay, if you've never baked a winter squash before, the first thing you want to do, if you're going to bake it this way, is you cut it in half. You need a really sharp knife to do that. And then this is where all the seeds are. And you want to take your spoon and just dig all that out. Now, you want to save the seeds. First of all, you can clean them all up and roast them and salt them if you care to eat them. Or you can feed them to your livestock, which is what I'm going to do because this is a small squash. Or you can save the seeds. This butternut squash, actually I grew from seeds I saved from a store-bought squash. So, if you don't have any squash, or like I live in an area where it's hard to get, I have to obtain all my seeds through the mail. I can get a few very common seeds in the grocery store, which is also an Ace Hardware store, but it's very, very limited, extremely limited what's available to me. So I mostly have to do it online. Well, they don't sell seeds for squash, except for pumpkin, that's it, and zucchini, but nothing else. So the seeds that grew this butternut squash came from a store-bought butternut squash, and I just saved the seeds. So you just clean out these seeds, then put them in your baking dish with a little bit of water to help them steam and stuff. Now, I think you'd put them like in a 350 oven. You might want to look it up. But I'm going to put it in my sun oven. It's not windy today. And so I brought the sun oven out. Well, there's a slight breeze, but nothing that big. And these guys would love the seeds, but they're not going to get it. I'm going to give it to a goat who's not doing too well. But if you're doing, honestly, I would never even bother preheating. It's not like a cake or anything. So I would just stick it in the oven, but you can preheat if you want. Now, solar oven, and there's other kinds of solar ovens besides the sun oven. Now, this will probably not get up to 350. Who knows? It may get up. It's been out here for a teeny bit. So let's see. Can I get that's what the temperature is right now. So, the squash fell over. Let me fix that. But you would bake these until they're pretty much done. They don't have to be totally done, because the last 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, you're going to add butter in the cavity, and then whatever seasonings. If it's cinnamon, nutmeg, that kind of stuff, for a sweet, savory thing. Or you could have, but if you've never had butternut squash, it's not identical, but it's very similar to pumpkin. Or there are recipes out there for more savory toppings and stuff. But that's when you would put your topping, because you'd want the butter to melt in there and just become delicious. So we'll be back later when these are all ready to go. I came out earlier and added some butter to each added butter to the butternut squash. This one I added brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. This one, just the butter, that's it. I'm assuming I can only eat one of these, so I'll season that one later. But I'm planning on seasoning it different. Like I said earlier, I've seen some recipes that use more savory, non-sweet herbs, and I want to try that. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this into the house, and I'm just going to mash all this stuff up in a bowl, and it's ready to eat. And you could serve it that way as a side dish or whatever. And I'm going to save that one for another meal. And I can throw it in here real quick or heat it up on the stove, whatever, when I decide to eat it. But this one, the one with the brown sugar, is what I'm going to eat now. So this was cooked totally in the sun oven. It took over an hour. I never checked to see, didn't poke the, take a fork and poke it to see if it was done. I just knew it had been there long enough and stuff. And then came out here and added it. Yeah, things tend to take a little longer in the sun oven depending on the time of year and how bright the sun is. And, how hot it gets. My oven stayed about that temperature all day. In fact, right now it's not even facing the sun. The sun is that direction more. I mean, if I was going to keep cooking, I'd need to turn it. But I'm done. At least with this dish. It's early enough in the day that I actually could throw something else in here, bread, or I could reheat leftovers, which I may or may not do. I like to reheat or, open a can of chili or whatever and heat it up in here. I've done that many, many times. But I just wanted to show, really easy to cook a winter squash in here. And I'm going to have a complete meal right there. So just wanted to show you. I could honestly cook pumpkin this way and then make pumpkin pie or whatever. I just love my sun oven. And I hope this gives you some ideas on how to use your sun oven if you just got one.